hardly believe it, but after just 7 months of training, tomorrow I'm attempting one of the world's most gruelling triathlons, the Ironman Bolton, and it's all to raise money for Dan's Trust, a charity dedicated to finding and treating undiagnosed heart problems in the young. I've been down to the course, dropped off my bike and picked up my race pack ready for the morning.
It's been a fantastic journey. You know, I've lost 14 kilos so far. I've had some amazing experiences along the way of training and racing, and I've made some great friends along the way.
By 4:30 in the morning, I was at the start of the course at Pennington Flash Lake, ready for the 2.4 mile swim. You start then reflecting on what it is you're about to do, and you know the fact that you are going to get in this lake, and then you're going to get on your bike, and you start to kind of put these little building blocks in place. When you're there and it's the morning of the event, then it's real and you've got to do it. And I think it really makes you sort of concentrate and focus on the job. With 3,000 other swimmers in the water, it was every man and woman for themselves. So once we got into the water and I kind of got away from the pontoon, I purposely just tried to settle down as quickly as I could, because I knew that once we got going, that was it then, there was no turning back. Stay focused, do your job, you know how fast you can swim. So it was just about getting straight into the rhythm and just tapping it out. The only bit where it kind of got a bit lively was coming up to the first turn buoy, so we're about 3/4 of a mile into it, and there was probably about 200 people trying to make a left-hand turn. And there was a little bit of sort of pushing and shoving and kicking and elbows, and it got quite sort of hustly-bustly there, and that was the first time I've ever experienced that in open water, and it was just, so for about 20 seconds, it was very unnerving. I finished the swim in an hour and a half, and after a quick change into cycle gear, it was time for the 112 mile bike leg. The first thing that you notice when you come out of transition is the noise from the crowd. And you just become aware that there are thousands of people. Everybody is just clapping and shouting, and it was literally like a scene from the Tour de France. You know, there's people, crowds of people, you know, 5 or 6 people deep on either side of the road, just shouting and clapping and ringing bells. The thing particularly about the Bolton Ironman is the amount of climbing. It was actually 7,500 feet of climbing, and there's some pretty big climbs like Hunters and Sheep House Lane, which everybody knows about, but it's all the other little climbs that aren't documented and aren't talked about, and you're constantly up and down, and they're on small farm roads, and it's very hard to get around people and everything else. So there's a lot of nervous energy on the bike, but you can't draft, you can't necessarily be around other cyclists. You're very nervous to be around them because you don't know what they're going to do. I did see quite a few pretty serious crashes, and they all seem to be where people had come together. So you're trying to, literally, like, you've got to have eyes in the back of your head, because there's people coming past you, you're passing people, there's people who just do random things in front of you, so you've got to be really alert. So I think even though I was quite sort of smooth on the bike and quite consistent on the bike and tried to keep a lid on it, you're using up a massive amount of nervous energy just staying alert for the duration of the ride. And over 112 miles, that's, you know, that in itself takes up a lot of energy, I think. 80 miles into the ride, disaster struck. I could actually feel both my calves starting to cramp, and then I just thought, oh no, this is bad, because if I'm starting to cramp now, how the hell am I going to do the run? So as I hit the bottom of the climb, I just had to go into bottom gear and just put my head down and just literally just make sure I could keep my legs moving. Now when I got over the hill, I did manage to get going again, and try and get my legs moving a bit faster and get down the other side. But then for the next 20 miles, I was nervous about coming to transition. As soon as I put my feet down, I thought, yeah, we're okay. So then I just had a little tentative run just to check I was okay, and then walked through into transition. And then I made sure that I took my time, got out of all my biking gear, and then had a little word with myself in transition and got my head into gear. I came out of transition 2 again, the noise and the family being there and friends and what have you, it was great. And that was fine, and I get that kind of picked me up a little bit.
The final leg of the Ironman is a full 26.2 mile marathon run. I was exhausted after the swim and the bike, worried about getting cramp again, and to make matters worse, the weather was getting really hot.
After probably about 4 or 5 miles, I could tell that my body was just starting to shut down. I wasn't actually being able to actually cool down on the run. So I started actually putting water down my back and onto my wrists just to actually try to cool down as much as I could, as well as trying to get some sugar in. But I knew then I was probably too late, or it wasn't the right time to try to start eating solid food again. It was just a case of, I've got to manage my way to the end now. I could just feel things going badly wrong at that point, and I was absolutely convinced that things were starting to slip away. At that point, I thought it was like, I'm not going to complete it. I'm going to have to stop.
How far have you got to go?
A long way. Just coming up to just around 8 miles.
Are you all right?
No, I'm pretty off and okay. See you next lap.
If I hadn't have actually stopped on the first lap as I came round through the start and finish area, and I only stopped for maybe 10 seconds and spoke to my family, and they just said, look, you can do it. And I think it was just that, mentally, just that little pat on the back that I got was just enough just to think, do you know what? I can do this, I can keep going, I can keep moving forward. I think mentally, there was several times when I had to have a word with myself and just keep going. You will get there, you will get there. And I think through the training and everything else running up to it, just the mental strength that I've been able to get from it and gain from it has been phenomenal. And I think that was probably ultimately the thing that got me through. Just the reassurance from family and just that kind of, don't want to let anybody down.
I was determined to finish. The whole reason for entering was to raise funds for Dan's Trust, a charity named after a lawyer and talented athlete, Dan Bagshaw, who died just aged 27 from a sudden onset of heart failure whilst competing in the triathlon in Hong Kong. People have pledged thousands if I cross the line. "15 hours, 16 minutes and 22 seconds after starting the swim at 6 a.m. in the morning, I finally made it across the finish line.
I can't believe it.
Well done! It must feel incredible.
Oh, amazing. Absolutely amazing. As I came down there, I started to get cramp, and I just said, come on, Dan. Come on, Dan, I need a lift. Oh, unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
Well done, it's amazing.
The legacy lives on.
That's something to be really proud of, Mike.
Oh, I can't tell you, the whole day has just been amazing from start to finish, to be honest. The crowd just take you to somewhere else. It's unbelievable. But I think the one thing I've learnt about myself today is that, mentally, you can go somewhere in your mind that's just you will not give up.
Well, you can be very, very proud tonight.
Every single bit of my body hurts, but it doesn't matter. I'm an Ironman. And I've got to say that has probably been one of the best days of my life. Crossing the finish line and then coming out and seeing my friends and family and everything else, it was just amazing. Yeah, really amazing feeling, and definitely I can see why people get addicted to doing Ironman, because it is just mentally unbelievably hard, physically unbelievably hard, but then the euphoria and the kind of reward at the end is just off the scale. So even though it's quite cheesy, I can now officially say that I am an Ironman. Thanks for everybody who's followed me on this journey. It's been brilliant, thank you.